We are what? We are who? We are what? Vibrant. We are who? 50 plus. Hi, welcome to Gray Lives on the Rise. I am your host, Professor Jamila Franklin, and we are coming to you from Oyende Enterprises, being sponsored by Jamila Sense, which is our product line of aromatherapy products that helps heal the mind, body, and soul. And we are bringing to you Alamaj's Rebirthing Program, as well as Jamila Sense, and a host of wonderful programs that will help heal your body, heal your soul, and heal your mind. 50 plus people, we are here to stay. Gray Lives on the Rise. We are what? We are who? We are vibrant, and we are here to stay. Join us for our wonderful episodes. Thank you, and continue to look for our episodes weekly, being brought to you again from Oyende Enterprises and Jamila Sense. See you soon. Greetings, everyone. Hi, this is Professor Jamila Franklin. We are here again for another episode of Gray Lives on the Rise. As you can see, always I'm in form. You see my shirt? And we're going to have a wonderful time today with Ms. Andretta Robinson. She's our featured speaker for the show tonight. And before we get started, you know what I do. I always go over the history for those of you who may not be familiar with Gray Lives on the Rise and how it got started. Well, it started about 2 years ago when I was walking. I'm an enthusiast in terms of exercise. I was walking, and a download came into my consciousness, and it basically said, look, you need to have something that deals with people in your demographic. I was like, oh, okay. And that meant people who are 50 plus, because the whole country, and I found out later that the world tends to denigrate and dismiss people who are 50 plus. So the name came to me. I was like, okay, Gray Lives Matter. And I said, no, that doesn't resonate with me. And then Gray Lives on the Rise came to me. I said, yeah, I like that. You don't have to have gray hair. You don't have to have hair, period. It's a consciousness for those of us who are 50 plus, and we are alive and vibrant and seasoned and golden. So those are the adjectives that I decided to have people use rather than elderly, senile, over the hill, because we're not. And the two organizations that are well known in the States are AARP and Medicare for people who are 50 plus. And I said, well, I don't really relate to Medicare. I'm vegan, but that doesn't mean that all vegan people are healthy, because they're not. But I'm healthy. And then AARP didn't really resonate with me because it gives the pejorative or negative image of people who are sedentary, and they're not. They're trying to really revise that image, but that's what most people think. So I said, we need to have something that's different on the landscape. And so, ta-da! What I did during my walk is I came up with the name Gray Lives on the Rise. We're on the ascent, we're going up. We're not going backwards. And then what happened was that, you need to have a store to sell the merchandise to promote the movement, because it's a movement. It's not just about one thing, it's a movement. So we have a store, and like I showed you, we have the Gray Lives on the Rise t-shirt, we have the hoodie, we have the tote bags, we have the mats, we have everything in our store that I know that you would visit. And the last thing was the podcast. So in my talking to people around the world, I found out that each person had a similar concern. They were being dismissed because they were 50 plus. So we've had people on from Eastern Europe, Serbia, South Africa, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Costa Rica, the Philippines, Haiti, the UK, Australia, Canada, and we've had people on from other countries as well, and also, of course, the US. And people really resonate with it, and we're doing extremely well. And we're very, very grateful and thankful for this because we're going into our second year. In about 14 more episodes, we will have 100 episodes total. And we have not had a repeat guest. So that's amazing. We're very thankful. So now that I've told you about the history, we're going to talk about a little bit about myself. I'm a certified aromatherapist, a certified Reiki master, a certified metaphysician, a college professor of psychology. I have my own clinical practice and my own institute. And one of my businesses is Jamila Sense. And it's amazing. As a matter of fact, that's my company that's paying for this because we have to pay for the podcast. We have to pay the bills. So Jamila Sense is all natural. And my favorite blend is Peace Be Still. It's transparent. You just put a few drops in your hand and you put all my products on the body. You don't take any of them by mouth. You rub your hands together. Oh my goodness, you breathe in, and it's all natural with lavender, lemongrass, and geranium. No additives, no fillers. I make all of my products myself. I'm a certified aromatherapist, like I said. So you put it on your body and you breathe in at least 10 times, and you feel like you're in a place of Zen. It gets rid of stress, anxiety, depression, hyperactivity within adults and children. Children now have high blood pressure. Gets rid of flies and mosquitoes in the summer. They will come near you. Any emotional or physical stressor, it alleviates the body from the stress. And it works within 5 to 10 minutes. And this particular blend, like I said, is Peace Be Still. So go to my website, www.oyendeenterprises.com, OYINDE Enterprises, ENTERPRISES.com. That's my umbrella company. And underneath is Great Lives on the Rise, which is my latest baby, and all the other companies, my aromatherapy company, and my courses that I teach to help your life become better and stress-free. So I'm taking care of that part, which is essential. So you can go to my website, and also if you're interested in becoming a guest speaker, you can go and click on Gray Lives on the Rise on OyendeEnterprises.com, and we can set up a discovery call to see if you're interested in pursuing that. So tonight we will talk with Ms. Andretta Robinson, and Ms. Robinson is a seasoned real estate broker, team lead of the Titan Group, powered by Remax 10, and the founder of Brown Women Wellness. With over 20 years in real estate and more than 1,500 homes sold, she is known for helping clients build wealth through strategic home ownership. That's important because people need to have something that's really solid and not something that's transitory. And real estate and land are two things that will always bring you residual income. As Coach Dretta, she also helps women reclaim their health through her Nourish to Wellness program, using personalized data-driven nutrition plans rooted in blood work and lifestyle. Her unique approach bridges wealth and wellness, empowering her clients to not only secure the right home, but to feel their absolute best living in it. Okay, so without further ado, we'll now bring on Coach Dretta. Greetings.
Greetings.
Dretta, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. I really do appreciate this opportunity to speak to your audience.
Yes, yes, we are so appreciative that you have agreed to share your wisdom and pearls of knowledge with us tonight. So let's talk. And you have two vibrant, very thriving businesses. One is in real estate and one is in wellness. And I think that's really, really good because you're using both sides of your prefrontal lobe, the left and the right. I think that's great.
For sure.
Yeah, I think that that's great. So let's start with real estate. What inspired you to go into real estate?
Okay, so I have a pretty rich background, just so you know. I was born during the Civil Rights Movement. So I am originally from Montgomery, Alabama, where I was raised. I went to an HBCU, Tuskegee University,
Okay.
and I was, after I graduated there, I went to live on to a few places. Like I lived in Atlanta, I lived in Dallas, I lived in Houston, New Orleans, London, England. And for the last 39 years, I've lived here in Chicago. So I am considered myself a true Chicagoan. Okay. So my work history is pretty rich. I started in sales, started with a radio station. I worked for a brewery where I sold wine to the airlines. I ventured into health and beauty aids industry, which is how I got to Chicago. President at Johnson Products. I don't know if people out there in your audience remember them. They did not the ebony and jet people. It is the ultra sheen people. So it's a different Johnson Products. And so my entrepreneurship started after I got fired.
Oh,
So, and I got fired from my job at Johnson Products, and actually it turned out to be the best thing that ever
so you
happened
were
to me.
released from your job, and that opened up some new doors for you,
Ow.
which was good in terms of wonderful opportunities. And that's wonderful.
Okay, okay, we're back. I thought I lost you there for a second. So anyway, yes, my entrepreneurship started after I was released from that job, but I started my own makeup line while I was there.
Hmm.
And so from 1991 to 2000, I had my own makeup line that I was actually selling to beauty salons and to small stores. And so that actually sustained me and my small child. I was a single mother at the time, and it actually sustained me for about 9 years.
Hmm.
We had our product, and I had my product almost everywhere. I'll never forget it because I would put I had my makeup actually formulated. It wasn't like I just slapped a name on a makeup brand and said, okay, here's a new makeup line. I actually had it formulated by a chemist. And so
Oh, okay.
and it became in such a demand because at that time it had those yellow undertones, and yellow undertones, everybody was still buying Fashion Fair with the red undertones.
Yeah.
And I had formulated a product with yellow undertones. And so it literally would look just like your skin. So it became very popular. I would get, oh my God, I think I had my product line in about 150 salons and stores. And so I did that. And then one day I realized that I can't just keep going around from shop to shop, that I needed to open up my own shop, and I did. So I opened up with my cousin a day spa, and we called it About Your Face. And we were located in Lincoln Mall, River Oaks Mall, and Evergreen Plaza. And we actually started that business in 1997. We were one of the first ones to do eyebrow arching. We were waxing.
Oh,
We were
okay.
one of the first ones to do individual lashes. We were doing all kind of therapeutic services targeted for brown women. And because what had happened was Merle Norman, I don't know if you remember, they used to be in those spas and they closed up. And so we took on that opportunity to open up a similar style business. And yeah, we were there, Lincoln Mall from night, we were the stuff. And we closed those shops in 2012. And it was around that time that I decided, it was in 2010 that I decided I've always wanted to sell real estate. I always thought that the only occupation that you can just name your salary and just do it, all depends on you and your mindset, was something in sales. So real estate always appealed to me. So I went to take the test, passed it, and I worked about 1 year under a mentor. That mentor went on now to become to own 12 of the Remax franchises, and I'm still there with her today, and I've been with her for 20 years.
Mm,
So
okay.
I formed a team while I was working there in the last 5 years. I have a team. It's called the Titan Group. And I have agents that work underneath me, and I mentor those agents to become the best that they want to be.
Mhm.
So I'm doing that. But while I was doing that, I always had this, I had some health challenges. Okay. Because when I had the day spa, I was always into health and wellness because of the day spa that we had. We were doing facials as well. In fact, I had my esthetician license too.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I was working in that area when we had our day spas. And so I've always been into health and wellness, but it wasn't until I had my own health challenge that I really got more in tune with it.
Mm,
So I I was able to overcome those challenges without medication, without any type of surgeries or anything like that. And so it really propelled me to think about, do people know that they can life, they can change their health with the right mindset and with the right nutrition, with the right tools. And,
mhm,
and, and at that time, this was right before COVID started. How I got informed Brown Women Wellness, which is my wellness company. I was in Atlanta, Georgia, actually visiting my aunt. And I walked in and she had swollen legs and she just wasn't looking like herself. And so
yeah.
I asked her what was wrong, and it turns out she was having a common problem that rages in our community, which was hypertension.
Mhm,
She was struggling with high cholesterol. And so and what the doctors always do is what first thing their first line of defense is, of course, to write you some prescription drugs. And so she was having side effects of those prescription drugs. And she said, Andretta, can you help me? So I went and found an herbal store in Atlanta and did my research and found all the herbs that will help with inflammation. Because as we probably all know, the root cause of most diseases is inflammation, chronic
mhm,
low grade
mhm,
inflammation. So I went and got the herbs together. And while I was doing that, I was documenting this on her front porch, showing my Facebook friend group everything that I was doing. And I looked up, I had all these followers. I went from 500 followers to 5,000 followers. And then,
mhm.
then my daughter, who is a millennial, said, okay, Mom, we got to get on Instagram and all these other things. So I looked up and we just had this huge following. So we decided to take those herbs that worked. By the way, they worked for her within 2 weeks. She did change some of her diet. I put her on foods that were anti-inflammation. I had her drinking this herbal tea that I had made that I was showing. And excuse me, and within 2 weeks, her blood pressure normalized. And I decided to take those herbs and put them in a product. And it's right now on our website at brownwomenwellness.com. You can see it's the anti-inflammation tea. So
Mm,
that started Brown Women Wellness. Okay. And so for about 3 years, my daughter, who decided, we were doing trade shows, and my daughter was looking at the lines we had people standing in lines to sample our teas. And she said, Mom, you on to something. I said, well, it works. And so I looked up and she started doing the branding and working with the technology part of it, made us look like $1 million company. And so we started selling the herbal teas on our website, and we were shipping all over the world. And but we then COVID happened, of course. So when COVID happened, we had to kind of shift gears just a little bit. Even though we were a virtual store, we had to shift gears a little bit. And remember, now I'm still selling real estate. So this is real estate
yeah.
was the thing that was paying for all this stuff. Okay. So I have to always give real estate its props. So um we got approached to do a podcast as a mother and a daughter, because again, my daughter's a millennial, I'm a baby boomer, and we got approached to do a podcast talking about the gap between baby boomers and millennials health wise. What are some of the health challenges that baby boomers may have, or millennials may have versus baby boomers? So we formed a podcast called Well Honestly, which is you can still find it on Apple, Spotify, everywhere you can. And
Mm.
listen, I my hat's off to all podcasters because it's a lot of work. Okay? Because we were running, I think we got up to 102 episodes before we just kind of stopped. We haven't done
Wow.
a new episode in a year. But
Mm-hmm.
we do have right now running on YouTube and all the places that you can find podcasts. You can find some of our old episodes on there. It's like I said, I think we got up to 101. So, but we were committed to it. We had a lot of guests. We talked very frankly about some of the health challenges that our community has, and it was just, and it grew and it grew and it grew. And we looked up, and again, we were getting awards from Apple for being one of the wellness podcasts of the year. And
Wow.
it was just a lot. Okay. But remember, I'm still selling real estate now.
Mhm.
So that's why I tell people, what I learned at this time in my life, Jamila, is I have this thirst for living. And I
Mhm.
feel I feel like I have these gifts and that I want to share with others the gifts of healthy living,
Mhm.
especially my generation, the baby boomers, because I see a lot of them who have just given up.
Yeah.
And it's really a mindset in terms of how we feel about ourselves. But a lot of us feel like if our parents had this, we should have it also.
Mhm.
If my parents had high blood pressure, I should have high blood pressure. If my parents had high cholesterol, a heart condition, or diabetes, I'm prone to have it. I'm here to tell the audience that is not true.
Definitely.
There's a thing called epigenetics where
Yeah.
you could actually predict the outcome of your health with changes in your lifestyle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you know this because, like you, I am also plant-based. Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
used to say vegan. I stopped saying that because what I found out was there are so many different levels of vegans, and so many
Yeah.
types of
Yeah.
vegan. And when I
Yeah.
when I first gave up meat, I was an unhealthy vegan, because there's this transition period that you go through, and you're still trying to find your way in terms of how you want to be a vegan, and you can find yourself easily falling into the junk food vegan.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Oreo cookies are vegan.
exactly. And so I had to take a step back from that. And that is how I started following some of the world-renowned doctors. And this is what led me to go further in my education. Because as I told you, I love learning. So
Mm-hmm.
I started following at the age of 67, 68, I think. I started following Dr. Joel Furman, Dr. Mark Hyman, uh, Peter McCullough. I was following all of these top doctors who, by the way, were all plant-based. Dr. Esterson. I started following them, and I learned so much from just listening to them about, like Dr. McGregor. I can't forget about him. So that led me to want to go back to school. And
Mm-hmm.
so I decided I wanted to, if I'm going to live this life, I want to know all about this life. So
Mm-hmm.
I went back to school and I started getting certifications in functional medicine,
Oh,
functional
wonderful.
functional nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
I went back and got raw food education. I entered into the raw food world for about a year and a half, which is where I met some wonderful people. And so I started trying to decide, well, what kind of healthy eater do I want to be?
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, I changed. That's what made me change from the word vegan to whole food, plant-based.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I am today. And so then I decided, well, I get all these certifications, like I told you, don't forget in the background, I tell you, I love to learn, right? So I believe in my heart and soul that the way I live now is the best way to live. I have
Yeah.
I have the most energy I've ever had in life. I
Mm,
sleep well. I'm able to work out without being fatigued. Um, I juice. I even started a whole juicing revolution. I was doing 10, I had followers on 10-day juicing. I would do 10-day juicing maybe once a quarter, and I'd have all these people juicing with me. Um, I started eating, I started fasting.
mhm,
I started a company, I started a group, a Facebook group called the 36-Hour Fasting Titans. I just was holding myself accountable and decided I wanted to fast once a week for 36 hours. So we would on Sunday
mm,
night, we would start saying, okay, Sunday at 8 p.m., we're going to start fasting. We won't eat again until Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. And so you got to remember, even though it's 36 hours, you're sleeping, what, about 16 of those hours because you go to bed Sunday night, you go to bed Monday night, and then you wake up Tuesday morning and you're eating. So I was able to convince 500 people to fast with me.
mm,
So I still have the 36-hour fasting Titans, but I don't fast weekly like I was now. I only fast maybe once a quarter now. And one of the reasons is because I found another way to stay metabolically balanced. So in
mhm,
my search, and then you probably know this, Jamila, when you are in this community of health and wellness, things come to you. They seek you, even though you're seeking out the best way to live. While you're
mhm.
doing that, you attract all kinds of ways to live, and you
Yeah.
attract all of these people. And this is the beautiful part about being in this health and wellness community. I have attracted quite a few people that have shown me I continue to evolve.
Mhm,
And in my evolution, I found a company called Metabolic Balance. And I loved their concept of health coaching because I went back, got my certification to be a health coach. But what I didn't want to do was I was trying to figure out the best way to approach health coaching. A lot of people think health coaching, what most people think health coaching is not what it is. Okay. And so I wanted to be able to help more people like myself live their
mhm,
best life.
mhm,
And so I had to figure out a way to approach that made sense.
mhm,
So I started working with this company out of Canada called Metabolic Balance. What I liked about them is they use your actual blood work. They send you to an independent, I send you as a health coach actually, send you to a independent lab anywhere near your house, and you get your blood work drawn,
mhm,
and we send that blood work to doctors in Germany. Now, if you know anything about the United States right now, we are probably one of the most unhealthiest countries in the world. There are many statistics to show that. We are plagued by a system that is monetized.
Yeah.
And because it is monetized, it gets in the way of the way we approach health, the
Mm,
way we approach um, our doctors, even the way they approach health.
mm,
Most doctors do not have any type of knowledge of nutrition. They don't even teach that in school. They
yeah.
are they are trained to write prescriptions.
Yeah.
And it's not their fault, it's the way they were taught.
Yeah.
Now you're seeing a lot of them now understand that and trying to change that. I'm starting to see some changes, and it makes me so happy because what happened is a lot of doctors saw that they were not really helping their patients. They were dying. And so most of them want to see their patients get better, not just write prescriptions. Okay.
Right.
But they're caught up in this system, and I don't know if you know this, and I'm sure you do, but the private practice is literally dead. Advocate in the Chicagoland, Illinois area has bought up all the private practices. They don't even exist anymore. So when you get in, so the doctors get into a system, and when they get into the system teaches them you have 15 minutes with each patient. So if you
Mm,
got 15 minutes with each patient, you really don't have time to know that patient except what you see in front of you. And so what they see in front of them when they're looking at their clients' blood work, they go right to prescription. And I'll tell you something else I found out that really, really opened up my eyes was the labs, what we consider normal and what doctors consider normal, really, literally is not normal. And doctors normally wait for your labs to become what they call unnormal before they will do anything. But there are a lot of warning signs up. I call it the um, like when your car light comes on. Same thing happens with your body. There are warning signs throughout our bodies that tell us something is about to happen.
That's
So,
true.
so doctors they use the blood work to say, okay, but they wait until you get into that not normal range instead of working with you, seeing that it's going in that direction and saying, hey, you need to check this now. Because if you
Yeah.
don't, I'm going to have to write you a prescription. Well, that's not their job, most of them. Some of them do, not all of them. Some of them will give you the warning. But what I learned about this company I was working with was that the coaches that were trained, and that includes me, we're trained to look at the blood work, send it to the German doctors who are lightheads ahead of the United States, and they look at it and they determine from that. Okay, your cholesterol. Okay, let's look at your inflammation markers. Let's look at
Mhm.
your blood sugar. Let's look at all these things. Oh, okay, you're headed in this direction. What can we do now with food? Well, rather nutrition. What can we do with sleep? What can we do with stress? And what can we do with exercise to catch this right now?
But that's
Okay,
part of what you call functional medicine.
it's
Function,
functional medicine.
functional medicine moves out of prescriptive types of medicine. I have worked at Harvard Medical School as a senior administrator, so I know what doctors know and what they
Hmm.
don't know. And one
Hmm.
of my friend's mom used to say doctors are practicing medicine. That's
Hmm.
something that they have it down to a science. And
Hmm.
so what usually happens, they do the best that they can because the medical schools don't teach nutrition. Nutrition is
Exactly.
taught in the schools of public health. So what happens is that a lot of them know as much as their patients do
Hmm.
about nutrition because
Hmm.
they're not schooled in it. So I think what's happening now in terms of the revolution is that people are becoming extremely astute when it comes
Hmm.
to their health and very knowledgeable. So when they go into the doctor, it's not as if he or she were God. They're going into the doctor with written out detailed questions and desiring detailed answers. So, with your business, well, the wellness to what
It's nourished to wellness.
yeah, well,
Yes.
nourish to wellness.
Yes.
Uh,
So that's my private practice business. So
right.
I have Brown Women Wellness, which is my product business. Then I have Nourished Wellness, which is my actual private practice business. But I want to make a point because you said something, and I don't want to just dismiss it because you said something very important. Um, the doctors now, man, I wanted to say when you were talking, it was just hitting me right on the head, and I was like, yeah, she's hitting it home. The doctors today, I think a lot of them really do want to help, and some of them, but they just, like you said, they are not trained to do that. But
Mhm.
this is where health coaching comes in at. This is where nutrition therapy come in at. And this is what the niche that I found myself leaning toward. And I promised myself I didn't want to be one of those realtors that was 95 years old that couldn't find a lockbox. So I started planning my retirement from real estate to segue of course, I will never retire, to segue myself into the health and wellness space. So I've come full circle. I started in the health and wellness space back in my career back in the 80s. And now here I am in 2026 back into the health and wellness space. I've come full circle. But the health coaching aspect of it, what I love about it is it gives me an opportunity to show people that they can change their health through nutrition, through food, and through all the things. That's the point I wanted to make. It's the noise. There is so much noise now that we have the internet. People are confused. People don't know, I talk to people sometimes, they say, well, if I can take, everybody wants a quick fix. Okay. And
Yeah.
you and I both know there's really no such thing as a quick fix. Okay. But people want a quick fix. So they find themselves buying supplements. They find themselves doing things like eating apple cider vinegar, taking black seed oil, taking, I think they're all the rage right now. Everybody, whatever the latest gimmick is, people find themselves on it, and but they still find themselves right back where they started because they haven't changed the terrain. You have to change the terrain of the body. And so you can't just keep putting layers and layers of things on top of a bad terrain. So what I teach is, let's get to the root cause.
Mhm.
Let's start with what's really happening in your body. And this is why I like metabolic balance, because the root cause starts in that blood work. You can see it. We know exactly what's going on in your body. And we know exactly how to give that precision, tell you where to start, precision wise, food wise, what
Mhm.
to do to correct what needs to be corrected, because most people are metabolically imbalanced. Most people blood sugars are too high. Most people have chronic inflammation, even if it's low grade inflammation is sitting there. And it's mostly coming from stress, non-sleep, poor exercise, and the foods that we eat. You have to do, I call it the four pillars of health. So in my coaching business, I concentrate on all four pillars. I don't concentrate just on one thing, but I do rely on that blood work from to start. So I'll know, okay, I'm looking at you personally, what's going on inside your body. And so we can personalize things with you. My job as a health coach is to get you in the right mindset so that you can do the things that you need to do. Because if you don't have the right mindset, you're still not going to, I don't think there's a person out there don't want to be healthy. I think everybody wants to be healthy. I think though it's the mindset that people have. You have people say, "Oh, that's too hard. I don't want to do that. Oh, I don't want to give up. I don't want to give up this. I don't want to give up that. Oh, I know I'm overweight, but oh, my parents were overweight too." That kind of mindset. And and then you got the internet. The internet is giving so much noise, people don't know what to do. They run over here and chase that. They run over there and chase this. Whatever the latest thing is. Right now is CMOS. You find CMOS everywhere. Everybody thinks CMOS is the answer to it all. You can't just take CMOS over a bad terrain. Okay? You got to clean up that body. So I
Mhm.
work a lot on gut health because
Mhm.
the gut is where the immune system is.
Oh yeah, with the microbiome. Now,
Yes,
other
yes,
thing that's really interesting is that people think becoming vegetarian or plant-based or vegan is more expensive, because when I was teaching at one of the colleges, I had to dispel with the myth. I said the most expensive thing in the basket is
is
the
the meat.
meat.
Yes,
But the programming through advertising has people so confused
yes,
and so convinced that eating healthier, especially eating something that's organic,
yes,
are more costly
yeah.
than eating a plant-based diet. And what I've done is I break down the the dollar cost, particularly if people eat out a lot. And some people eat out daily. So
Hmm.
I said, let's look at that. And you say you can't afford a car and you're young. Your car payment is at this fast food chain that you go to every day, three times a day.
Correct.
So
Correct.
when I've done that, they've sat back and they've said, "Oh, okay, now I understand." But yeah, what you're saying is so important, because people are being fed false information, because that's how the advertisers make their money.
Exactly. I call the products the billboard. I said, you go into the store and you're looking at the label. That's the front label is your billboard. You need to turn around. Turn that label around and really look at what you are buying. Because the
Mhm.
average person don't pay it any attention. How much sodium is in that product? how much
Mm,
sugar is in that product. You're walking around with high blood pressure, but you're buying, and people think it's the salt that they put on their food. It's the salt that you're
mm.
buying. You're,
Yeah,
yeah,
it
you
really
can,
isn't. It's
yeah, it's
been given misinformation,
exactly. Well, and this is why,
unfortunately.
and this is why I think it's so
So it's
important.
really important when someone like you with the knowledge, the scientific information can step in to correct the misinformation because a lot of people don't know
They
what's
don't.
accurate.
They
Yeah.
don't. But I think it's important to get the message out. And by the way, and I want to say this, I do see a lot of improvements. We're seeing. I mean, when I first went plant-based, I mean, it was hard for me to find food. I was having to just, I was scrappy. But
Yeah.
now you can literally, and I don't eat out that often either because I'm also SOS free, sugar, salt, and oil. I eat a little salt, but I'm sugar free, oil free, and I had to adopt that because I found out that I have heart disease that runs in my family, and
Oh.
so I also found out, both of my parents passed away from heart disease, and so
Mhm.
I decided to take the SOS route, sugar, salt, and
Yeah.
oil out, and so I started following Dr. Elsterson, in terms of people with any type of genetically we have. I found out my brother and I don't know if you've ever heard this gene called lipo A, which runs in the African American families. Most of us have that gene. And if you carry in the lipo A gene, yeah, you're likely to have some type of heart problem because, as we all know, heart disease is the number one killer. People think it's cancer. People think it's high blood. It's heart disease. And
Yeah.
so I started, once I learned this about myself and I started doing these things, I said, okay, I need to, let me go a little deeper, instead of just being whole food plant-based, let me find that area in whole food plant-based that works for me. And
Right.
so for a long time, for about 2 years, I only ate raw. I did
Hmm.
raw food for
Hmm.
2 years. And so, but even if you eat raw food, you still can find yourself with sugar, salt, and oil. Okay. So
Hmm.
I had to really hone in. Now I cook foods now, but I'm very conscious of any sugar because sugar is addictive. Let's
Yeah.
just go
Oh,
on
it
to what it
is.
is.
Oh, it
Okay.
is.
It's
Oh,
extremely addictive. And it's really, people think they need to have willpower. It's like, no, 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 no. Willpower has nothing to do with that. They have, the food companies have deliberately found the formulas to make food addictive. And so
yes.
they put ingredients in foods to make you want to have more.
Yes.
I know I cannot eat. Like, I'll give you an example. I already know I can't have potato chips and just eat one or two potato chips. Gonna want that whole bag. Let's be real, okay? It's very difficult to eat a cookie and not more one cookie, two cookie, three cookie, four cookie, because the sugar is calling
Yeah.
your name. It's calling your
Hmm.
name, okay? So I had to learn to cook without sugar. I use dates to sweeten things
Hmm.
because dates do not raise the blood sugar. I've learned to use a lot of herbs when I cook.
Yes.
I can
Me too.
still get that flavor,
Hmm.
without having to salt first. My motto to all my clients is if you got to have some salt, salt last. Flavor it with all the herbs first. Taste your food. See if you even need salt. You might not even need it. Okay. And then if you do, just need a little bit. Okay. And then with the oil has no, I don't care. People say, well, what about olive oil? If people knew that olive oil, number one, first of all, the olive oil on the shelves is not real olive oil. Okay. Olive oil is one of the most smuggled in oils in the United States and the world because most of it is not real olive oil. Some of it's got canola in it, the seed oils, and it's a blend. You don't know. And how would a person know? People ask me, say, well, how do you know if it's real olive oil?
Hmm.
I had said there is a test you can take, and you'll be shocked to find out when you put it in your refrigerator what happens if it doesn't become cloudy. You're gonna be like, oh my God, it's still looking like oil because it's not oil.
Hmm.
So it's a lot of, I call it frankenfood. It's a lot of frankenfood on the shelves that's also causing us to be sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're eating the things that even though there are because there are a lot of vegans I know that are sick.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. Oh,
okay.
yeah.
And it's easy to do because, like I said, it's easy to fall. I found myself falling into that trap of still trying to imitate some of the foods that I grew up with in the vegan world. But to do that, I still had to have a lot of sugar, salt, and oil. Okay. So I had to learn to my mindset to change my whole mindset about food. So
Mm-hmm.
what I teach in my nourish, and it's so funny, let me tell you this story. So once we get the blood work back from the lab out of Germany, I have to go over because they choose the foods for you based on whatever your
The blood
condition
type.
is. Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's not type, it's work, not blood
Okay.
type. There's a difference. We're not doing blood type O, A, none of that. This is actual your blood work. You fat,
Okay.
you're fasting, going to a lab, we're looking at your entire panel. So when they see the panel, they come back, they can see what's happening in your body. So they choose foods to help you become metabolically balanced. Because once your body is metabolically balanced, disease can't live in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I also give you a detox. I parasite cleanse everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I don't care who you are, you got some parasites.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. Most people don't think they do. I mean, oh, you got parasites. Okay, so I parasite cleanse people, and then when they get their nutrition food list back, Jamila, you should see some of the looks on people's face. They be like, wait, I have to eat this, but not this. Yes. Now, the good news is they give you an opportunity, the doctors do, to take 5 foods that you absolutely hate. They will not put those foods on your plan if you hate those foods. But that
Mm-hmm.
means they're going to substitute it with something else. And so, and what I'm seeing is, and right now I've done over 40 some women, mostly women and men. And what I'm seeing they all have in common, because I just started this in December, by the way, Nourish to Wellness. And what I'm seeing they all have in common is most people have high blood pressure. Most people
Mm.
got high cholesterol. Most people have high blood sugar. Most people got, a lot of them got low grade inflammation. I'm seeing a common theme on the blood work. And
Mm.
I'm going, ha, but guess what? The foods that they come back with is still different for each individual, all of them,
Yeah.
because they have personalized it. And so for the first 16 days of the program is very strict eating. You
Mm-hmm.
eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but you're eating from the suggested food list that they give you for your blood work.
Mm-hmm.
After 16 days, I want you to know everybody looks different. The skin starts glowing. The energy level is high. They're sleeping. People are asking me, they go, wow, what a difference just eating foods for my personalized body makes.
Yeah.
I mean, it just now, and by the way, there are some of them have meat on their list, because if you're a meat eater, they leave the meat on there. It's not a vegan plan.
Mm-hmm.
It's meat on there, but it's very plant heavy. I call it plant centric. It's
Yeah.
very, very, very
Right.
plant heavy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you're getting a chance to, like, I'll give you an example. My husband, you know, he know, he lives in a house with me. He doesn't eat no vegetables.
Mm.
He eats old school. Now, what he does do is work out and exercise a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
his eating habits, he's having a struggle. Well, most people have a struggle changing from, especially people that look like us, because we come from a background of soul food.
Yeah.
And we don't to transition from and to if you try to take that away from us, some of us will fight you to the hills for that
Yeah.
soul food.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a gentleman on YouTube that I met at I go to conferences all over the world on speaking on this subject. I meet all these doctors, and there's a gentleman on YouTube that teaches us how to take soul food, and he teaches you how to veganize soul food. Now,
Mm-hmm.
there's a danger there too, Because again, some people, when they try to veganize soul food, they still got a lot of sugar, salt, and oil, and they still wind up sick. But it's better than where they came from. And what I've learned, Jamila, is take people in small steps. Like,
Incrementally.
you
Yep.
cannot overwhelm people. You have to take them in baby steps. Meet them where they are, which is what I do in my program. I meet people where they are. I choose victories with them. If you just got six more vegetables in your life than you had last week, it's a cause to
Yes,
celebrate.
that is. But Coach
Okay.
Dretta, what I want to do,
Yes.
because we're coming close to the end, I
Okay.
want for people to get your contact information because what you're saying is so extremely invaluable. I
Mhm.
agree with you 100%. So how
Mhm.
can people get in touch with you? I know you're based in Illinois, so you also do virtual consultations, but
All the
but
time.
I would like for
All-
people to have all of your information.
Okay. So if they go to Nourish, Nourish, and the number two, wellness, nourish2wellness.com, they can go and book a free discovery call with me.
Okay.
And so is and Nourish to Wellness will lead you to Brown Women Wellness. It'll lead you to my podcast. Everything is there. You can find all the things I used to do and all the things I still do on the Nourish to Wellness website. No, I take that back. I'm sorry. BrownWomenWellness.com will lead you to Nourish to Wellness. So the sister company is BrownWomenWellness.com. Nourish to Wellness is my coaching business. So it's Nourish to the number two wellness.com. They can also, if they want to find me in real estate, all they got to do is Google my name, Andretta Robinson.
Oh,
Uh,
spell it for them.
it's Andretta Robinson, Robinson. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram. I do a Substack. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me everywhere pretty much. If you put real estate in, you'll find me real estate. You put wellness in, you'll find me wellness. So I'm very easy to find. But right now, the best way to reach me is through my nourishtoWellness.com website.
Okay. Well, what lasting pearls of wisdom would you like to leave with our guests within the next 3 minutes?
Uh, I want my baby boomers to know to don't ever stop living.
Hmm.
Find that passion, continue to learn. I'm always learning. I'm an avid learner. But the most important thing is passion. Find things that you're passionate about. And when you find the things that you're passionate about, it'll be easier to continue to learn. And
Yeah.
also, I want to tell them, don't stop moving. If you don't use it, you're gonna lose it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so keep moving. As they say, keep on moving, baby. Okay, don't stop. Okay, okay, don't stop, because if you do, you're going to lose it. So you and I share the same philosophies, which is why I know it was aligned for us to meet and have this time together, because I'm a big believer in the law of attraction. I'm
Oh,
a
yeah.
I'm a big believer in aligning. We align ourselves with people who think like it. So I really appreciate you having me here today, because we definitely are aligned in thought. We are in the same generation. So it's a
Yes.
wonderful, beautiful thing. And I appreciate you and what you're
Yeah.
doing.
Well, I am so very impressed with your knowledge base, and you sound very well versed and multi-talented in so many different arenas, and your passion is just so well appreciated because are not doing a hard sell. You definitely would like for people, particularly people in our community, to really take charge of their health. I think people think that, like you said earlier, because grandma had it, I have to get a pat on the belt. is the example of that not being true. 5 of her family members died from cancer, and she does not have cancer. Now she's working on the diabetes, but she doesn't have cancer. So just because it's in your family, it doesn't mean that the predisposition, like you were talking about in terms of epigenetics.
Yes.
That's a big thing that Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about. So epigenetics, it gives you a full range of some options.
Yes.
And the food that your parents ate and your grandparents ate, you're not eating that food. They did not eat genetically modified food. So people would tell you, my
we didn't even talk
grandmother ate
about
like
that.
this.
Yeah, we could go down the rabbit hole. You and I probably could go down the rabbit hole and have a 5-hour podcast.
Oh yeah, because I counsel people on that too. And people say, well, I can eat like this because grandma ate. I said, no, she did not eat the food that you're eating. So, but I really appreciate it because I know everyone, please get in touch with Coach Dretta. She's amazing. She has worldwide experience. She's traveling around the world so she can talk to you about dietary habits and concerns that she's seen around the world. So you're dealing with a person that has a repertoire of information, and you will be very well served by getting in touch with her. So I so appreciate you.
And I appreciate you as well. I want you to know that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I so appreciate you. So get in touch with Coach Dretta today, not tomorrow, today. Okay? Get her information from underneath, and you can set up a discovery call so you can get on track if you're falling off the track to wellness, and your spouse and your children and your grandchildren as well.
Absolutely.
We want to see everyone become healthy again.
Absolutely.
So, Coach Jonah, thank you so much.
Okay,
and everyone, remember, go to oyendeenterprises.com and Gray Lives on the Rise. We are definitely on the move, on the rise. And we thank you for joining us today. Click like, subscribe, and tell others about it as well. Bring everybody over, okay? All right, then, beloveds. Until next time, be well and stay safe. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Gray Lives on the Rise, being brought to you by Jamila Scents, which is the product line of Oyende Enterprises. Jamila Scents is a 100% natural aromatherapy line that heals the mind, body, and soul. This episode of Gray Lives on the Rise was intended to uplift you, to inspire you, and to motivate you. Please tell all of your friends, family members, and anyone you know who's 50 plus, who's living a vibrant life and interested in doing more and enjoying life even to its fullest. So thank you, and please subscribe, like, and comment on this video and all our videos. Thank you, and until next time, until our next podcast, namaste and be well.